So thanks for coming, everybody. Today I'm going to be telling you about some work I've been doing on the cosmos and life's meaning. Um, there is this idea that you see philosophers talk about from time to time that from the point of view of the universe, or in this nice Latin expression, sub specie aeternitatis, human lives are meaningless. Maybe from a human perspective, when you think about our lives here on Earth interacting with each other, then they can seem meaningful. But if you adopt a cosmic perspective, if you take the sort of point of view of the universe, then it seems like human lives are meaningless. Our lives are confined to this one planet and last maybe 80 years or so, yet the observable universe is approximately 93 billion light years in diameter. It's about 14 billion years old and contains hundreds of billions of galaxies, each one containing billions of stars. So if a meaningful life is one of significance, a life that matters, then it's hard to see how a human life could possibly be meaningful against the kind of cosmic background of the entirety of the universe. Against that background, you might wonder, does any life really matter? This kind of response to a cosmic perspective is well illustrated by this quote from Blaise Pascal: "The silence of those infinite spaces terrifies me." But there's another kind of response that people have to thinking about the size of the universe, which is well illustrated by this quote from Kant. He says, "Two things fill the mind with ever new and increasing admiration and awe: the starry heavens above and the moral law within." And if you know anything about Kant, then you know that if he's saying something's as good as morality, that's high praise. That's like as high a praise as it gets. So on the one hand, the universe and its scope can be kind of terrifying, but on the other hand, it can be consoling. It can kind of give you a sense of perspective. It can inspire awe or a sense of oneness with the rest of the universe, maybe. Though we humans are small, we are a part of this majestic whole. And so maybe in some way we kind of inherit some of its majesty or something like that. I think this other kind of response to a cosmic perspective is nicely illustrated by a musical I saw not too long ago. That's the Broadway poster from the original production. In this play, the leading man works at a shop, and one of his coworkers is yelled at by the boss. The boss comes in and tells him off. But the older man who's yelled at has this very relaxed response, and the leading man says, "How do you do it? How do you maintain such composure?" This is how he responds. He says, this is all in a song: "How do I remain so calm and cheerful? How do I retain my peace of mind? It's all in your perspective. I am only one of several in a rather small perfumery, which is only one of several in the city, which is only one of many cities in this country, which is only one of many countries which are on this continent, which is only one of seven on this not so special planet, which is only one of several in our solar system, which is only one of many solar systems in this vast, inconceivable affair that is the cosmos." So, in this infinite, incomprehensible scheme, if a dot named Marasek should scream at a speck called Cepos, what on earth does it matter? So the idea is, not only can the size of the cosmos make you feel like maybe you don't matter, or your life, your activities don't matter, maybe your problems don't matter so much either. Maybe it can make the trouble you're feeling or the problems you're having seem insignificant as well. And so maybe in that way it might be consoling. So I had a few research questions. One, just overall or in general, does thinking about the size of the universe affect the meaning that people see in their lives? And two, if so, then what are the method or mechanisms behind this effect? And three, who responds positively versus negatively? Can we predict who is going to have one kind of response or the other? So I ran a study. We had three conditions. One I'm calling person to cosmos, then cosmos to person, and control. All participants watched a short video, about 90 seconds. In the cosmos, or in the person to cosmos condition, they watched this video. It starts on a woman's face, and it zooms out, and you start to see eventually what is effectively Google Maps, and you get satellite view. Very quickly, the human disappears into the background, and it keeps zooming and zooming and zooming for 90 seconds until you end up on the edge of the universe. In the person to cosmos condition, or sorry, so that's person to cosmos. In the cosmos to person condition, it was this exact same video played in reverse, so that you start on the edge of the universe and you zoom into a person. Then in the control condition, it was a video of people walking around on city streets just doing normal kinds of things. The reason we had these three conditions was we thought there might be a difference in order. It might be that if you zoom out, you feel like you're getting kind of lost in the cosmos. Whereas if you zoom in, maybe it feels more like finding your home within the cosmos or something like that. So we wanted to be able to control for that. Next, we gave participants a 5-item version of the perceived personal meaning scale. This is a scale that I like for meaning and life judgments because it's pretty atheoretical. It doesn't assume anything about what it is to think that your life is meaningful. So it's 5 statements, sample item, my life as a whole has meaning, showed good internal reliability. Then we had a text entry question, which just said, briefly, what did this video make you think about? We were going to content code responses to that. We had 4 items assessing affect, so 2 for valence, to what extent did this video elicit pleasant or unpleasant feelings, and then 2 items for arousal, to what extent did the video make you feel alert and energetic or calm or tired. Then we had 2 measures that I came up with. One is an 8-item mattering measure. This is your sense that your life matters, that it has significance or value, and it's a very kind of context-free version of that. So just my life matters, my life has makes a significant difference, that kind of thing. And then another measure of something I'm calling cosmic indifference. This is the degree to which you think the size of the universe is relevant to whether or not a human life matters. Because you might think, some people just think, look, my life matters because of what I do with other people, the effects I have in my community. This size of the universe stuff is totally irrelevant. Why does the size of the universe have any effect on whether or not my life matters? So this was 6 different items with a little fill in the blanks. So for instance, one of them was the vastness of the universe is blank to how much a person's life matters. And then you could say extremely relevant to not at all relevant. So our participants were 301 adults from around the US, recruited through MTurk in early 2019. We excluded 13 for various problems. A couple had a technical error where the video didn't play. We had some attention check failures, which was just an item that said, this is an attention check, please mark whatever. And if people didn't mark that, then they failed the check. And then we had some people who just didn't write anything or write keyboard banging kinds of nonsense on the text entry. And so we excluded those as well, which left us with 208 participants, mean age 37, roughly gender balanced, majority white, as is typical of online samples from American populations. So here are our results. Remember, we had 3 conditions, and we thought zooming in versus zooming out might make a difference here. So we wanted to control for that. As it turns out, we found no differences between the person to cosmos and cosmos to person conditions on any of the DVs. So we just collapsed those back into a single cosmos condition. So now all the comparisons are between cosmos and control. And here's what we found. We found significant main effects of condition on meaning. A small effect, but significant. Same for mattering. Do you feel like your life matters? And also for negative affect. We found no effect on positive affect, no effect on arousal, and no effect on cosmic indifference. Now, we had originally thought that the effect of condition might be mediated by mattering. The idea being you get a sense of the size of the universe, you start to feel like you don't matter, and therefore you find your life less meaningful. But given that there's this effect of negative affect, we thought we would see if that was mediating the effect as well. As it turns out, there was no indirect effect of condition on meaning through negative affect. However, we did find an indirect effect of condition through mattering. And in fact, when you account for the indirect effect, the direct effect was no longer significant, suggesting a full mediation. The video makes people feel like they have less meaningful lives because it makes them feel like they matter less. When you account for that, there's no more link. But what if you're one of those people who doesn't think that the size of the universe is relevant to how much a life matters? Does cosmic indifference moderate the effect of condition? As it turns out, no. So here's our distribution histogram for cosmic indifference. If you regress perceived meaning, on condition, cosmic indifference, and an interaction. We get that main effect of condition, but no interaction and no effect of cosmic indifference. That's weird, right? In fact, looking at this distribution, you can see there's this bulge up here at the top, which suggests for these approximately 20% of people, these are people who said not at all relevant to all 6 statements. The size of the universe, the fact that it's going to last for billions of years, not at all relevant to how much a human life matters. And we see a significant amount of variance in this measure, but how much a person feels like, how much relevance the person sees in the size of the universe does not affect how much thinking about that size influences perceived meaning. That's sort of strange. Looking to the free responses, the text entries, we went through and content coded participants who said something that indicated one way or another, something about size or significance. Obviously, strong majority said something like that, about 71%. Then we were looking specifically at, do they say, I feel small, or humans are insignificant? Or do they say something which is equivalent but framed differently? The universe is huge. The cosmos is vast. That's a subtle difference in framing, but maybe a difference in framing that is important. There we got about 40% of people and 44% saying one of those. Then we also found about 20 people, or almost 11%, said something that explicitly in the text entry that suggested that they responded in a positive way to the video. So here are some examples of that kind of thing. So to remind you, the text entry question said, what did the video make you think about? So one person said, it made me think about how small we really are and how unimportant everything we do is, but in a peaceful kind of way. One person said, how small I am and how small my problems really are. Somebody said, reminds you not to stress the small stuff. This one I like a lot. Oh my God, well, first of all, it made me think about how vast the universe is and how insignificantly small everything is. I wish more people understood that, because it would help us to move past our problems and to focus on the bigger picture. So that to me has a kind of Carl Sagan vibe. It reminds me of, the Pale Blue Dot, where he's talking about, think of all the emperors and the kings who have shed rivers of blood to own just a tiny speck of this floating speck of dust, or that kind of thing. If only we realized that we're all in this together on this tiny little flying speck through the cosmos, then we'd come together and be better people. So as long as I had these codes, I thought it might be interesting to look at how they're related to perceived meaning. So in this case, we're looking specifically within the cosmos condition. The people who said, I feel small, or humans are insignificant, or something like that, versus the people who said the universe feels big, and these are not mutually exclusive, so people could have said both. Do each of those predict perceived meaning? As it turns out, humans feel small predicts lower meaning, but the universe is big does not. That's kind of interesting. They're recognizing the same fact, but that difference in framing affects how meaningful people find their lives to be. Now, we looked at moderators, trying to determine whether or not cosmic indifference moderated the effect of condition. Turns out that wasn't true. But looking at some of the demographics, we found that age was a significant moderator for the effect of condition. Regressing perceived meaning on condition, age, and interaction, we find main effects of condition and interaction, such that older participants were not affected by the cosmic perspective video. The Johnson-Neiman technique revealed that the effect was significant up to 39 years. So for participants under 39, there was an effect. For participants over 39, which is about 87 in this sample, there was no effect. That's kind of interesting. So looking to the future, I have a few questions. One is, what's up with that? Why does adopting a cosmic perspective only seem to affect meaning in younger people? The free responses suggested that thinking about the size of the universe can make your problems feel insignificant. And that's the same thing we saw in the song from the musical. So maybe stress has something to do with it. Do high stress participants respond more positively than low stress participants? Maybe that's related to age. So maybe older participants are more or less stressed, and maybe that's part of it. Similarly, if you're somebody who feels like you definitely matter here on Earth, you've made a big social contribution, people depend on you, you matter to them, are you less susceptible to the effects of a cosmic perspective? Maybe that kind of anchors you here on Earth and you know you matter here, so what do you care whether you matter in the grand scheme of the universe? Also, why doesn't the effect of a cosmic perspective depend on explicit beliefs about the relevance of the cosmos to a human life? We found no moderating effect of cosmic indifference. That is deeply puzzling to me. So I wonder what you all think about that. That's all I have for you today. So thank you very much for coming. I, of course, have my obligatory shout out to my co-author and mentor, Barbara Fredrickson. So I look forward to your questions.